rise in Spokane. And it seems like neither solution is really helping reverse this trend. Why do you think neither solution is helping, and what could be done?
So last fall, I had a town hall for the homeless here in the community, and I've done it a couple different times, and I do it down at House of Charity. And in the town hall, over the last 3 years, we've had very different discussions, but this last one, last September, was different. It was incredibly impactful on me and my view of the world and what we can be doing. But as I was talking with 30 or 40 people, every single one of them homeless, I believe, the question became, what is it you want to do in the next 6 months to a year? And you know what they said? They said, I want to work. And I said, why do you want to work? And they said, and one of the guys literally used the word dignity, because I wanted dignity and I want to re-enter your culture. And then when I said, what's stopping you? I started to ask, how many of you went to high school? How many of you went to college? How many of you dropped out? How many had a business and went bankrupt? How many of you served? I had all sorts of different answers. But at the end of the day, they kept saying, I want to work. And I said, what do you want to do? And one guy goes, you know what? I want to be a garbage collector. And then some of the other homeless guys started laughing at him. And I said, what are you laughing at? That job pays more than most white-collar jobs that you think are a lot better. And then one said that they wanted to go back to school. One said that they wanted to, they had all sorts of jobs, but at the end of the day, they had a problem just getting a job. And as a result of a homeless guy, his idea became House Bill 2415, which basically said that you can use the address of your shelter when applying for jobs. Because one of the hurdles was, when they went to apply for a job, that employers were skittish because they didn't know if they could hire someone who didn't have an address. And I think our quality of life is largely dependent upon our quality of questions. And I think sometimes we have to take the debate deeper. And we have to say, how do we approach these issues and not accept the obvious? But how do we start talking to the people on the street and saying, what is it you need, and how do I begin to play a small role in that process?
Yeah, it's on. The issue of poverty is very complicated, and the minimum wage is not the only answer. I'd be the first person to admit this. There are issues about affordable housing, there are issues about transportation, the cost of childcare, the cost of education. All of these things work together to create economic situations for families that are very difficult and that push people below the poverty line. So I think it's right to be thinking about a constellation of solutions. Minimum wage is not the only way, and the minimum wage in isolation is not going to solve all of these problems, which is why we need to be having these conversations. And I think you're absolutely right. We need to be thinking critically about this, and we need to be talking to people in the communities about what they need. But I fail to see how keeping wages low is going to help solve poverty. That just logically does not make sense to me. And I have talked to a lot of people about this, and I've never heard any answer that makes sense to me. If you are keeping wages low, and keeping wages artificially low by expecting people to be dependent upon government services like TANF and SNAP in order to supplement those low wages, or things like the EITC, which comes in one lump when you do your tax return, but doesn't help you 6 months later when that money's all been spent and the rent is due and you're about to be evicted. Low wages are a problem in that moment that can't be solved by something like SNAP or the EITC. So wages are part of this, and higher wages would make a difference, but they're not the only solution.
One more question, Nate.
Okay, here's a wide open one.